You also shared a story where there was an agent who was booking you in Chicago, and he gave you an ultimatum.
Oh, yes. Well, this kind of goes back to taking chances. When I first started modeling in Chicago, there was a photographer he was the big fish in Chicago. Like, if you weren't working with Victor Skrybneski in Chicago, then you might as well just, resign yourself to the world of catalog modeling for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, he really, I think he felt like my mentor. He took me under his wing. And I learned so much from him. And I worked for him almost every day for 2 years. But New York agents calling, different jobs, and finally there was the right thing that I wanted to go and do, this big job in Egypt. And I asked him, I had my agency say that I was going to go and do this job, and I wouldn't be available for this other job that he was doing, which was like a 1-hour tiny thing. And he said to me that, well, first of all, he said, you don't have a very easy face to photograph. So he said, I'm the only one that can make you look good. And if you go to New York or Egypt, I will never photograph you again. And this was like, he was my bread and butter. And it was very scary. I really didn't think he meant it. It turns out he did. But I did go, and he did mean it. But it was a great lesson for me because I learned about not putting all your eggs in one basket and not letting someone else have that much control over, you, because it's your life. You're not just an extra in someone else's life. So I took a chance, and the great thing about having my mother with this unconditional love was that she was like, well, of course, what's the worst thing that can happen? You'll come back, there's no failing. The only failing is in not trying. I wish the photographer would have been that generous with me as well, but he had his own story that he's on. And we actually, 20 years later, he got in touch with me, and we've had like a little reunion. Because as much as he was petty in that moment, he also taught me a great deal. So it was nice to come full circle.